Greetings, YouTube, on this insanely busy News Friday. There's so much to cover that I can't possibly cover it all. There are just going to be things that I have to choose not to make videos on because I don't have the time, and I don't want to oversaturate my channel with, 6 videos in an hour or something. Even I have some standards when it comes to oversaturation of content. But I just went to do a 30-minute live stream, my Across the Pond stream, and only about 10 minutes in, several summoners, including Mr. Spidey, who sent this over to me, were freaking out because of this new Great White North Elusive Sasquatch Northern Expedition level 60 cap. And I'm like, what? I've been working all afternoon. I don't know anything about this. So then Spidey sent this over to me, and we are now here to discuss it. We are hot on the trail of the elusive beast known as Sasquatch, embark on expeditions to find the legendary cryptid and find valuable rewards along the way. So we have Quest 1 8 Pass, Quest 2 8 Pass, Quest 3 12 Pass, Quest 4 12 Pass. Quests will be unlocked over the course of 4 weeks and restrict your team to only 3 champions. They feature no energy costs and will have fewer pass than when we first ran this style of event with Mole Man Expeditions. So I was fine with Mole Man Expeditions, I didn't think they were the worst of the worst. Canadian difficulty. All right, this is where the complaint happens. This month's event features a new difficulty available to summoners that have reached level 60. So I know people who are so good at the game and so skilled, or want to throw enough units and revives, that they're not level 60, but they're still either uncollected and or Cavalier. You could have somebody who's level 59 and be Cavalier. We've seen that before. So a level 60 cap, which I don't recall them doing before in any content, is just really a weird, strange, and quite frankly, dumb choice. You could also have the opposite, right? You could have somebody who's level 60 who's never done any hard content. Maybe they're uncollected, but they just haven't pushed themselves. And so you're rewarding somebody who's level 60, but not somebody who's, say, Cavalier and not level 60. It's just a really bad idea. Canadian difficulty will change some of the encounters from other difficulty levels and adds a global node and link nodes to all by one of the paths. This means that your first experience with this new difficulty can be achieved without fighting any of the linked nodes, but to obtain more rewards, you'll need to take on the extra challenge of these created buffs. These paths are focused on class advantage, so scope out your targets and bring in a group of the right class for the best results. I mean, all this sounds fine except for the level 60 cap. Canadian difficulty is the first step on the road to our Cavalier event quest difficulty level. So, okay, but you can't assume if this is a step towards the Cavalier event quest difficulty level that everybody who's Cavalier is level 60. I have seen many examples of that not being the case in Crystal opening commentaries, for example, that I've been asked to commentate on with people who just became Cavalier. In fact, we're going to do one of those in the next 24 hours on this channel, and this summoner was not level 60. It will allow us to gather feedback and data, and you will share your experiences with us in regards to difficulty, rewards, and pain points. Keep this in mind as you try it out. This is the first time we're introducing this difficulty, and everything is subject to change for future events, from the rewards to opponent stats to the overall difficulty level. This is just the guinea pig of Cavalier content. So, Canadian difficulty, 2,500 6-star hero crystal shards, which honestly is not much. 15,000 5-star hero crystal shards, which is fine. 3 tier 5 class Callus fragment, but they're the crystals and they're the 2% variety. Tier 5 basic Callus fragments, 18,000. Again, that's less than a week of what I get for doing a full week of Alliance quest. Tier 2 alpha Callus fragments, a little bit more than a fully formed, which is also what you get for being Cavalier every month for free. Decent amount of gold, and then Epic, you still get 1,000 6-star shards, 10,000 5-star shards. Epic looks okay. You'd think that Epic should be the 2,500 6-star shards, and Canadian should be at least half of a 6-star crystal. But it's Canada, so those conversion rates are going to put the FU in fun. Either that or they're going to be drunk on maple syrup and Tim Hortons donuts. I have a lot of friends in Canada, including quite a few of my mods. Shout out to Mick Sizzle and Miss Lucy Brazeness and the Brazeness Clan, etc. YouTube, I just don't get the level 60 cap. It doesn't take into account really those summoners who aren't yet level 60 but who've pushed themselves to become Cavalier, for example. It seems like a progression-based requirement would make sense. Like, you can't try out the Cavalier difficulty until you're Cavalier. Okay. We can get on board with that, right? That makes sense. But if you're going to say that it has to be level 60, you're either going to include some people who aren't Cavalier but are level 60, or you're going to exclude people who aren't level 60 but who are Cavalier. It's just what is going to happen. And some of you who are very angry about this have already reached out to me, because it's who I just spoke about that popped into the short Across the Pond live stream I just broadcast. Overall, it doesn't make any sense to me that level 60 is the Canadian difficulty. And I think that they're really shooting themselves in the foot by having that requirement. There is a little time for feedback. If you change it to Cavalier, regardless of level, that makes perfect sense. But otherwise, it's just it's really unnecessary, and it hurts more of your player base than it helps. So I hope they strongly consider changing this requirement to at least those of you who are Cavalier and who've progressed, since that's really where everything, including the July 4th rewards, are typically based in the top tier of. But level doesn't really indicate a guarantee of anything besides just how much experience you've obtained in the months and years you've been playing, and you can get that experience easily to level 60 without becoming Cavalier.